All right, guys, we're live back to Playing to Win, podcast episode number 90. I'm joined here with my friend Sergey.
Hey, Richard.
What's up, my brother? One of the first podcasts I've ever done in real life, in person, face to face. So this will be a first. We've got cameras and mics and all kinds of things we're testing out in this new space. And I want to introduce you to Serge first and tell his story because he's pretty remarkable. He's a guy that you don't know that you should know, and you'll get to know him pretty well by the end of this podcast episode. Following this podcast episode, and we haven't decided if we're going to do live yet or not, we're going to start another podcast together talking about cars, which we'll get into as we kind of develop through this little bit here. But this particular podcast, Serge, is really about playing to win versus playing not to lose. Most people in life that don't get great results out of life, they play not to lose. They kind of just play it safe. You're definitely a playing to win guy. I met Serge, I think it was last July?
May? June.
Okay.
So some of the meetups at Saturn Drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys are having any problems getting feedback, hang on. I'll tell them I'm getting people saying there's echo. I wonder if it's because, you know what it is? It's echoing because it's picking up on both mics. Doesn't matter. We'll live. We'll live through it. Is the echo brutal, or can we push through this? Because we're kind of
How about now?
testing and tuning.
I disconnect my mic and when I talk. No.
No, you're going to need your mic on to sort of push through this. Can you lower the volume on his mic? Maybe that'll reduce the echo a little bit. And I'll do the same on mine. Let's see if we can get this thing fixed. Kind of a test and tune as we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is.
This is going to be our partial news.
Anyway, if it's brutal, let me know in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it over here. Okay, yeah, so it sounds like it's fine. So you came from the Far East. Let's start with that. You came to Canada. How old were you?
So 15 and a half, turning 3 months away from being 16.
And Russian, Ukrainian background.
So Russian, Ukrainian, partially Jewish background, which I found out much later when I was actually in Canada. So there's a bit of a twist of that.
Yeah.
Odessa, Ukraine, currently in war situation, as everybody knows.
We'll talk about the proxy war in this show too, I think. So we got a good 90 minutes. So your family came here, or did you?
So I immigrated with I'm his only child. So my father and my mother, 1999, November 22nd, we basically came around here. And that's it. On the day 42, I think I was working.
And what did you start doing when you got here? Was it school, or did you start working?
So high school, went to high school, I think was grade 11 for me, just before the 12 and the OACs, which is a dumb credits for no reason in this country, but it is what it is. Obviously got a part-time job on the day 42 when I was here, literally like right after New Year's, grocery store, $5.25 an hour. Same time, I started, basically second job at the, maybe not same time, but maybe like 2 months later, for $5.45, which was increasing wages at that time, and then Dominion store, same groceries. Same time was doing my lifeguard and swimming instructor classes.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's where that's the origin story of the lifeguard saving lives came from.
Well, part of it, and
I think we'll save that for the car podcast.
Sure.
Yeah, because that happened on the most recent rally. We have some wicked stories to tell, and before we get into like the car stuff and the rally stuff, and we're at the Flat Six Club. Can you guys switch over to the wide angle for both cameras for me for just 1 second there? I'll just switch over to solo layout. You guys let me know if that works a little bit better for the visual in the chat. As you can see, we've got the Flat Six Club above him. Serge opened up. Is this one of the biggest ones that we have in Toronto
now? As a car club, I think it's the biggest club.
Yeah.
Haggerty is one of them, but they do mostly store.
Yeah.
And their club is a little bit different setup. But if you're talking about North-wise, that's the biggest club.
So before we get into the details of the car club and what you're building here and the rallies and everything that's sort of been going on, talk me through the ascent of Sergey, because there's a lot of people that come to Canada, they look for better life, they come to North America, the States, whatever, they want to get away from the bad things that are happening in their countries and their world, and they look for better opportunities. And here you come as a teenager, you enter the school system. That must have been tough with the language barrier, because you still got a pretty good accent, right?
First 3 days, 7 fights.
Are you a fighter? Do you know how to fight?
Yeah.
Good. What discipline, or is it just street
So
fighting?
I had my black belt in Taekwondo, but in reality, I do Muay Thai.
Okay.
So I competed on Ukrainian nationals from Muay Thai when I was 14 and 15 into national championships.
Okay. And then talk to me about the ascent of yourself, sort of like through school, away from the grocery store to the sorts of things that you've gotten into today, because you own a private mortgage company. It's publicly traded. You're raising more money. You're a guy that, I mean, there's people out there on the internet that are always like, I'm buying cars, but you're a guy that nobody knows of. How many cars do you have en route right now?
So I think it's 28 now.
28 cars.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much up against a guy by the name of Andrew Tate.
Yeah, more or less.
He's got like 30 plus in inventory and more coming. He's got some interesting hypercars, but you're pulling in a lot of toys to build this club, to use for future events and plans, things that we've talked about as well. But how did you get to the point where, how old are you now?
39.
How did you get to the point where, you come to Canada as a teenager? Degrees.
3 completed, 3 unfinished.
And what are the degrees?
So my high school here, bachelor's in law back home, simultaneous times. Because at back home at grade 11 you finish. Here at grade 11 you have to do 12, then OAC, so basically 12 and 13. Obviously, I'm here, I'm back home already doing my law degree, I'm still in grade 12 here. Second year university, I'm finishing OACs here. I'm third year university, I get booted out of a campus there, get picked up by a military school into special services, then specifically deliberately failing that, going back into schools there. Here, I'm in a college. So I'm challenging with my unfinished bachelor diploma, Seneca College route of paralegal, acing all the exams, doing my paralegal 3-year program in college within 6 months, getting my paralegal, finishing year 3 back home university bachelor's. Doing paralegal here for next year, already working, finishing full bachelor's back home. After that, second year paralegal here in Canada, Lancaster University in United Kingdom, unfinished degree for criminology. So I'm already in the UK, I'm just second year studying here. Simultaneously here, I'm going to York University while I'm being worked as a paralegal for crappy money, to be honest, at that time. Going back for my psychology at York University. Same time, night school, Ryerson for accounting. Also degrees here, degrees there, psychology, daytime York, filling in, missing a bunch of school, trying to work as my ass as a paralegal full time, also flying in to do quarters, at UK. So that's how it got.
Let me just hop in for a second here, and I think I know how to cancel out the slight echo that people are having. So I'm going to mute myself when Sergey's talking, so you don't have an issue with that. That's a lot of school. I've said before that you should never let school get in the way of your education. And that sometimes confuses people. It even upsets some people as well. That's a lot of school that you're sort of pushing yourself through. You said that you only completed some of the degrees and you abandoned some of the others?
3 done, 3 unfinished, yes. So I dropped Lancaster. Didn't really work for me as a UK system. I did about a year, paid all the tuitions and everything else. Didn't really like it how their education shapes out. Same with Ryerson, pushed through a year and a half on the psychology, figured that shit isn't for me. Nice to read people, nice to understand people, nice to get along with people, so the base is there. Didn't really like it, dropped out. I like to try different things in my life. That's so, if you have a variety of what you're exploring in a young age, I think it sets you to a path of dislikes and likes. And I didn't like a lot of things. My paralegal career at that time, while having a bachelor's of law and having actually a law firm back home, at the same time I'm doing all this, which actually fitted me with money more than I was making in Canada. So I was balancing couple balls. The problem was there's not enough time for actual life because you're balancing school and you're balancing work. Employed here as paralegal, I'm doing real estate land registration. So it's back in 2003 when we didn't have even internet, when it wasn't even electronic. You had to go.
How old were you when you were doing that?
So I was 21. I was 21. So 21, I already have my law degree back home. I'm a certified paralegal here, and I have 2 unfinished degrees.
Okay, let me just stop on that for a sec, because I want to ask you about law. Is law a viable career and profession for people to pursue in this day and age, in your opinion?
It's capped. Let's just put it this way. So my philosophy in life, it's all about choice. We can talk about that for probably 10, 12 hours just on choices of what brings you to, where you want to be. Law degree is definitely a nice base. I do not see lawyers, and I know lawyers who make decent amount of money, but decent is a perception of, for you, maybe 150 to 100,000 is decent. For somebody, it's $500,000. Lawyers and corporate and securities makes the most. Sometimes personal injury law firms make decent money, but it's still capped. There's a ceiling. I don't like ceilings, so I didn't bother with it.
Yeah, I have. Sorry, can you step over a sec? Is my screen working over there? Yeah, just minimize the other one. Okay, yeah, just leave it over there. Okay, yeah, because I'm having an issue with my screen over here. It just crapped out, but it looks like the feed's good. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so basically, ceiling is a problem for me. I don't like ceilings. I don't like caps.
Yeah.
Law degree, if you're looking 300, 400,000, that's, well, okay, even not that. Junior lawyer starts at about 65 to 7 in Canada. Career fully juiced about 200K, 250. It might be a good number, just not good enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
So nice base to know the documents, nice base to know the contracts, nice base to figure out, that you don't gotta get fucked in life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But just, I don't like to be capped. So that wasn't
completely understandable. Yeah. I mean, I know quite a few lawyers. My ex-wife is a lawyer. I had a guy on the other day on a Plain and Wit podcast that owned a law firm in Sacramento, California. A bunch of lawyers, sold it, got out of California, went over to Thailand. Wants nothing to do with law. I know a lot of people look for professional designation as a path to success, to winning in life, sort of thing. But I think the blockchain is going to change a lot of that. What do you think about blockchain, technology with smart contracts and stuff like that, putting some lawyers or maybe quite a few lawyers out of work in the future?
It definitely simplifies things. I don't think it's going to put anybody out of work in reality, because...
Like simplifying simple contracts.
Yeah, simplifying simple contracts, for sure. Let's give you an example. Let's say you're in a divorce situation. You're negotiating. The simple contracts are not going to do it for you unless you already, pre-arrange everything and you guys exactly on 2 terms and everybody agrees to everything, then yeah, maybe it works. But if you're in dispute, technology or blockchain is not going to solve your problem. You need people to talk on your behalf. You're emotional. This is just one of the examples. I can give you thousands of examples why it's not going to happen. Security law. I'm paying my lawyer $1,500 an hour plus HST. I think I paid close to $900,000 last year in billables. Just to give you an example. But the firm eats up 50% of it. The lawyer ends up with $450. The lawyer has 2 clerks to carry. What is she going to get out of a client like me who pays $900,000? Probably clean cut, 200. She carries about 10, 12 clients. Okay, so she's at $1 million change. Okay, call it 2 million, because she's top 3 Canada-wide, the lawyer I use. So she bills, she's over $2 million. By the time you hit taxes at 52%, you're still left with $1 million after all of those fancy clients. You're billing at 8 mil, company takes half, corporation takes, then you have legal assistants who's gotta eat because you can't choose that much work and so on. So it's still a cap.
Yeah, and it looks like private mortgages and real estate investing is the path that you've chosen from what I see right now with Equity Line. It's interesting because when I was setting this up, I was trying to figure out some way to create this event and then present it to the public, so I could, you always want to have some sort of a title that makes sense to people. So I started Googling your name, and your name's, I can't even pronounce your last name. I'll probably never figure it out, Serge. So I'm just going to keep calling you Serge. But the thing with the internet is it finds everything when you put in a name like yours, right?
Sure.
So come across some stuff, read some press articles, come across some social media. Now, 2014 is when you started to use Instagram, is what I noticed. And one of the first posts that you made was new toy. And new toy is something that you bring up in our WhatsApp group, with the boys with the rallying, sort of stuff like that, with the orders that you've got. And this was a Lexus ES, I think it was. I don't know if you remember. It was a black Lexus.
It's a black
ES.
Lexus ES. Yes.
So the kind of toys
H.
that you're talking about today in 2023 versus 2014, 9 years ago, are very different. You've got like 28 of these toys. We're talking Lambos, Ferraris, multiple rare,
Ferraris.
low production vehicles that are very difficult to get. You're a bit of a facilitator too. I've always told you guys, in the past, your network is your net worth, and I've always wanted to get my hands on a Spider RS. We talked and we bantered a little bit back and forth about it, and you've managed to facilitate through one of your connections an order, so that'll be coming in March. But you're well connected. You have access to all these cool cars. You've got this mortgage network. You're building it out. You're trying to get on more exchanges. How the hell do you do all this stuff? Like, this is a lot
of work
for people to comprehend. Like, people watching this right now, even though they're a little shitty setup and the problems with the mic and the video and everything we're sort of testing right now, work with us, guys. But, we'll get through it. But to comprehend the scope of the things that you do, and you're still alive, you're not dead with the amount of work that you're putting into this. How do you balance out the schooling that you had to go through with the multiple degrees, with the law firm, with the paralegal, with raising capital for degree to understand law?
No.
All you have to do is deal with lawyers a few times, and you can pay the lawyers, $1,500 an hour, $1,000 an hour to deal with your issues.
That's what I do.
So you don't have to deal with it.
I have 6 of them.
Right. And that's how successful, smart entrepreneurs deal with this sort of stuff. Is they don't go and get a accounting degree and take care of their books. They hire an accountant. They don't go and get a law degree and deal with the legal issues. They hire a lawyer, and it frees you up for the other stuff.
However, you do have to have some understanding of where you're being put to, because lawyers don't make
the basics. Yeah.
You got to have the base. So going back to school example, right? So unfinished degrees here, Harvard, just a shitty, financial accounting certifications. Took me a year and change to get all of that, but it's a Harvard. Made my parents basically proud. Same time.
Are they more proud of the Harvard bit versus everything else you're doing right now?
It depends. My mom was a Gemini, so it's a 7 days on a Friday day. So, it's a 7 opinions in one day, basically. Yeah. It really depends. I did finish my master's in law as well. So that was basically after I retired at 33.
What are you more proud of, the things you're doing today or the law degree from Harvard?
No, I think today. Today is definitely. I mean, I look back, it's a nice base. That's how I look at it. I don't like ceilings. Like that's my problem. And base is great, law degree, financial accounting, sure, it helps out. What it really does, it gives you those check marks for people in the financial sectors or who are higher ups than you to look at you that you've done something in life. There's a certification or a diploma or just a check mark saying that, okay, you're not an idiot. That's basically what it is. All what I hang out with older people. That's number one. Most of my friends were a lot older.
Let's just hover on that for a second, because again, the podcast title is Playing to Win. And I've often said, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Put yourself in a better room.
Absolutely.
Older people, as often as the internet likes to frown upon them and they call them names like boomers, or they'll make fun of them because they'll say that they're outdated. And I can understand with guys like Joe Biden who fall asleep at the microphone, right? But there's people that bring a certain level of experience from mistakes and life choices that they make that can be useful to you. So you chose to surround yourself with smarter older people, or was that accidental? Like, when did you discover that?
See, so going back a little bit to paralegal stuff, I used to do land registry, and I see the real estate agents, my age, older age, come in, 15 grand, 20 grand per transaction. I'm working there for 38,000 a year. I'm like, and I'm correcting their shit on the contract. So I got my real estate diploma, basically courses. I'd finished my finance at the same time, and I just went and being a real estate agent. At that time, being 23 at that time, every client you're going to get when you just put up a general ad is typically older than you. So you're automatically surrounding with people who are 10 to 15 to 20 years off your age.
It's a hack. Would you call it a hack?
Yeah, more or less, because people in their 23s or 25s not buying condos or houses. They don't have the means for it. So if you're providing a services to somebody, it's typically people at least 35 who are buying a home. You're automatically talking to those people, you're doing services to them, you end up hanging out with them. If you're good at services, they're going to invite you to barbecue, home opening, home closing, whatever. You're doing open houses, you meet exactly as the older people, and you just develop a group with 15 years older. Those people who are 15 years older already made their money to buy a house. You're still, sucking around those things and trying to figure your life. Obviously, if you're hanging out with people who have 15 years of age experience on top of you, you get to learn a few things. Now, obviously, what you want to do is you want to pick out of that group somebody who's more wealthy, to find out how they made the money. One guy does this, second guy does that, third guy does that, and 3 out of 5 do the same thing. You're like, okay, that probably makes sense. Now you start researching it. And, house developments, did a few custom builds, probably did around 16 or 17 of custom built homes. Same time, when I got my financing stuff, started to leverage with third and fourth mortgages, corner properties, real estate up and rising. People couldn't pay the bills. Power of sale to yourself.
When did you start dealing with the mortgage stuff?
So that was 2006, 2007 mortgages, 2006 real estate.
Yeah, so it was just before the
boom. Yeah.
The crisis issues. How's our feed over there, by the way? It's good. Thumbs up. Chat's okay. They can hear everything. Yeah. My computer crapped out. I had to restart it, but I'll get back in on my screen in a sec. Again, this is practice, so we'll figure it out. So I used to do private lending when I was 2006, 7, 8, 9, I think it was. Is that primarily what you got started with, was private equity lending?
I started as a real estate agent. Then basically, commissions were great if you know what you do.
Yeah, if you're doing a lot of deals.
And then, at 23 years old, 24, well, 23 probably much at that time, to convince a person who's 45 or 50 is like, why they have to go with a kid? You just say, well, guys, I used to work as a paralegal. You chose a name, the firm you used to work for, and they say, the agents used to come to me and I used to correct their contracts. So you guys can be well assured that your paperwork will be intact. That's basically one of the lines I keep on using for a very long time until you get your track record on top. And commissions, like I said, made my life basically decent.
And that was through the real estate transactions?
Through the real estate transactions,
Let me ask you this. One of the things that almost all real estate agents, mortgage brokers, anybody in the mortgage business or tied in real estate always struggles with is customers, flow, deals, right? So my background, a lot of people that watch my stuff already know this, is that I was in the collection industry. I think I got in, it was 1993 or 4. Spent about 10 years in it. They gave me a package. I went home. But towards 99, 2000 or so, what mortgage agents started doing was they realized that there was a lot of money to be made in seconds. And they would go to the collection agencies and they would tell the collectors, hey, if you have somebody that's got debt, send them over. If they're a homeowner, we'll refinance, pay out your debt, and we'll get them into a new mortgage, and everybody sort of wins. That was very profitable for a while for a lot of people. And but I did come to realize that most of them, like the vast majority, when I say most of them, like, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong because you spent more time in it than I did, but it seems like 98%, maybe even more, of agents in that space, they have almost like they're scraping by. They barely make enough deals to make any money. How did you get customers? Like, how did you acquire your leads in your business?
Network of people, like I said, they keep on referring you. You close a house, you give them a TV. They close a house, you follow up with them. So just constantly bugging people.
You close a house, you give them a TV?
Yeah, why not? Like, you're making 15 grand. Well, what's the problem of giving $2,000
$2,000
back? Whatever, who gives a crap, right? So, gives them something. They feel appreciative. They refer your client. You give their referral fees, and just, you'd rather have a 50% of 100 than 100% of nothing.
Right.
So that's one of the formulas. And real money I have made on developments It's not on the services.
Land development,
on developments of
commercial real estate.
Condominiums.
So
what I have done
developing
is
services and then land up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, what has happened with me is there was a period of time when you're looking for homes, so you're trying to sell somebody home. You meet different people. Different people are different sectors. Sell houses, you get commissions. That's your livelihood. Now you're going into commercial. Commercial takes a very long time to buy or to sell. Now I acquired a commercial plaza for a gentleman, and my commissions were like 650,000. He was short about 500K for actually arranging finance. So he goes like, well, you're making money. I see, you have some money. Do you want to partner up? I'm missing $500,000 basically to close. And I'm like, well, that's great. I don't really want to give you a loan, but I'm happy to take a stake of 10%. And I don't really need my commissions because I have residential transaction of 10 grand, 20 grand, paying me for my existence. And the big chunk of 650 grand basically landed me 10% of a stake. I worked out my ass off for like probably 3 years with respect to getting municipality approvals, running after permits, consultants, and basically just staying on top of a project. From 500,000, I made $7.6 million in 3 years.
In 3 years.
In 3 years.
And that was off holding the units.
That was just rezoning the piece of the plaza and reselling it to a builder.
This was all in the GTA and Toronto?
This is all in Scarborough, yeah.
Do you think the housing market here in Canada and the Greater Toronto Area is in a bubble, or is it going to keep going up?
It was in a bubble. We had, 20 to 22% discount right now. I think we're going to hit another discount in November, December, a little more. Again, depends on interest rate increases. Let's see how our fabulous government is going to do. That's a totally different podcast. And
let's talk about that, because, I mean, you left the country for a better life in Canada. Do you think Canada is a better life for people leaving a place like Ukraine or Russia?
It's more predictable.
More predictable?
Yes, it's a lot more predictable.
In what sense?
Well, in what sense? The government in Russia or Ukraine wakes up next morning and says, well, your currency is no longer a currency. We issued a new one, so you have 48 hours to change your shit. And now here we have new dollars. 1991. Ukraine. Dissolution of USSR. So you had your rubles. Now you cannot even change your rubles. They only take except the hundreds. So 50s, 25s, 10s, and 5s were not accepted. So unless you had hundreds, you couldn't change. And the change period was for a couple of weeks.
Right.
That's it. Here's you had wealth. Now you have nothing.
It's interesting. If predictability was more common, and I mean, we'll talk about the proxy war in a minute, but if predictability was more common where you came from, do you still think Canada is a better place? I know it's tough to answer because you've created a lot of success here too.
It depends. Well, my parents had a lot of success back home. We had quite a few businesses. We were fairly wealthy until basically, again, the dissolution of USSR, and then everything else fell into a hole with Ukraine, and Ukraine started to go up and rising in about 2003. We left 1999, which was pretty much one of the worst years to leave, actually. It was bottom of a barrel. I don't know. It's hard to say. For my parents, probably, yeah, it would be better. For me, I grew up here, so, Yeah, did I travel the world? Yeah, sure. I lived in Europe. I lived in Asia. I go back home fairly often. We still have, a house and a condo there.
Do you think that the government policies and the direction that they are taking Canada in are beneficial? Like, you've got kids, are you happy with your kids being here with the way that they're doing things?
Absolutely not. No, I'm actually looking to Florida. I'm actually looking to move to Florida soon. That's why the New York company is going up. I'm putting another person to run my Canadian fund. I mean, it's not small, but it's not big. It's like 68 million. So I'm putting somebody in charge to run my Canadian entities, and I'm slowly moving to transition to States.
What is it that's having you look to the States or Florida to?
It's a bigger market. It's a bigger growth. I mean, look at population, right? Florida has a population almost the size of Canada. Like, if you think about it, they're what, 28 million, Florida-wise.
Yeah.
We had 38 million Canada-wide.
Yeah.
Ontario, 18 million people. Canada.
And the policies as far as government, how do you see those factoring into that decision?
Well, it
I
depends.
mean, the tax rates here are high, right?
Tax rates are high
There's no
everywhere.
personal income tax in a place like Florida.
Yeah, but I'm corporate, right? So I don't do it personal. I have very small personal income.
Yeah.
I have 16 different businesses, and my businesses pay for everything.
Interesting.
There's ways how to, not to be bothered with personal taxes.
What I get a lot of questions from young men. They're like, how do I do what you're doing? How do I get to where you're at? Right? They always want, like, give me A, B, C, D so I can be you and drive those cars. And
Sure.
what advice do you give to those young guys?
ABC for simplicity. You have your daytime full-time job, get your real estate license, do that on a Saturday, Sunday, and evenings after work. Yeah, it's tough, but until you get your clientele, which takes 2 to 3 years, you cannot switch a career change. Now, after you have your clientele and you see that real estate pays you 2 times more than your day job, now it's time to minimize a day job, switch into a different career full-time. Real estate is scalable. You can get a team member, you can coach people, you can have 5, 6, 10 people at one point in time.
Are you talking about real estate in
real
the
estate
regard
agent,
of
real estate license, real estate broker,
Okay.
real estate agent? I did that. I had 16 agents under me. I still have my own real estate brokerage. Do I work as a realtor? Hell no. For my old clients who were with me for like 16, 17 years, maybe, or I just maybe throw to somebody else for the listing, and it just helps them out as advice. Don't really have the time right now to deal with that. Like $40,000, $50,000 check, you're just not gonna cut me. Let's just put it this way. Unless it's an old client who I know it's like bang bang, we're done in a weekend. Sure, I go for 50 grand. But if you're talking about like time wasters, which a lot of them, yeah, that's not happening. And a lot of my clients know for the past probably 10 years, it's like, guys, unless you really know what you want, I'm not bothering with you.
Is private lending, private equity lending, the sort of stuff that you do, is that something that you would recommend after a few years in real estate? Is it after 10 years in real estate?
You got to at least have $1 million of disposable cash saved up. If you have less than $1 million, it doesn't really make sense, because let's be realistic, you're making anywhere between 10 to 15% returns. So to spend time and do research and go into it, unless you have $1 million, makes not a lot of sense, money-wise. Again, maybe it is for 100,000 and you get your $1,000 a month and you're happy with it. Maybe, just not my numbers. Like in my fund, I have 9.5, which is from my family fund, from my family accounts.
What's the minimum for a MIC still today?
There's no minimum. It's 20 investors, and the minimum is 100,000. There's no actual minimum, but yeah.
Okay, so you can form a MIC with 20 investors.
20 investors, yeah.
And a MIC, for those watching that don't know, is a mortgage investment company. You basically take money on deposit from your investors, and you distribute it out on smaller mortgages. You charge the borrower, usually on seconds, 9.9 to 14.99%, and you pay your investors,
9,
spread
10,
on that. Yeah.
9, 10. Keeps the spread, take the lender fees, 3-4 points.
One of the things I find, when I talk to a lot of successful entrepreneurs and guys that have, put a little dent in the universe, is a lot of the times they say the first $1 million is the hardest to make. Yeah. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, you're starting with nothing. The first $1 million, you see, I have on my driveway 2007 Volkswagen Jetta. It's worth probably $2 grand. Worth less than my tires on my cars. I still have it. That was my first $1 million. Is that car.
That was it, eh?
Yeah. So that car's staying. I had a rebuild engine, transmission, bodywork, new tires.
But why keep it? Is it a symbol of just struggle, or?
Probably. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything right now, right? So, do I want to sell it? Not really. Sentimental value, maybe.
I have a talking point that I've used a lot that tends to piss off some people. And again, young viewers that watch my stuff, it's usually guys. I'll encourage them and I'll say, look, aim to be a millionaire by the time you're 30. If you miss that mark, at least do it by 40. People push back real hard. Oh, that's impossible. Rich are out of touch. You can't make that money. All the rich people have hoarded it.
I disagree.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Explain why you disagree.
Because I have done it. We came here in 1999. I was 15 and a half. We had $14,320 in our pocket for three of us. First 6 months of to pay for rent at $1,310 per month times 6 months. Your $9,500 goes out of the window. What do you have left? You have $5,000. You have to buy also furniture because you get an empty apartment. You got to survive. You got to have some, transportation, food, and everything else. So it's possible.
Yeah,
because I have done it.
It's it's interesting that the immigrant mindset is always so hungry, but it seems like there's so many people that are just like, it's too much, can't do it. It's it's impossible. You're asking too much of me.
You sleep 5 hours a night. That's all.
That's it.
Your school finish at 3:45. By the time you're home at 4:30, have a lunch. Half an hour drive to work. 45-minute drive to work. Start at 6, you finish at midnight, 11 o'clock at night, and you go home.
Have you always hustled, or did you ever have like a time in your life where it was like, I'm just gonna go home, watch TV, play video games, smoke drugs, do nothing?
Don't do drugs. Never done it. Used to drink. Dropped it when I was probably 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 24.
So you never had the inkling to just cruise? Just put it on cruise control.
Doesn't get you anywhere.
Control, take it easy.
It doesn't get you anywhere, right? It does. It doesn't get you anywhere.
It doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
That's the moment you pause, you're done.
Yeah, that's the point that I try to drive home, right? Like I want to reach those guys and give them a nudge, a little shove, and be like, come on, man. Like, I've done it. Guys like you have done it. Every guy that we roll with in the rallies that are driving these nice cars that are parked downstairs, they've all done it. I always find it's interesting when people have that slow cruise control, maybe even a victim mindset. It's fascinating. What's going on down there?
Yeah.
Christina.
Chris.
Can you ask them to stop that? Whatever it is that they're doing. Thanks. Sorry, we're in the shop and there's some people that are downstairs still that are doing some work.
I think they steaming the floors or washing or whatever.
Knock it off, boys. We'll get to that later. All right. Let's see. What else should we cover with this episode? What is it that you'd want to tell people that you haven't talked about yet?
I haven't really finished the whole story,
right?
Because you ask it and you're like halfway done through it.
Yeah, I get distracted with these side points because you've done so much in your. For me, actually, sitting here having a conversation, it's very interesting because we spend a lot of time together, like days together, literally, almost weeks now. And then for you to sort of go down these rabbit holes. So yeah, carry on, please. Sorry.
No worries. It's basically real estate. What done for me, like that's big tranche of money. I mean, I've done some work back home as consulting. I consulted for bank license back home. Consulted for other entities back home again. That capital has never came here, so it's always back home is back home kind of idea.
What's back home? Is that in
back in Ukraine? Home in Ukraine. So I launched a series of 6 banks. Like I got a bank license for people. I assisted on that through friends who I graduated from school with, and they paid me well to get it accomplished. They had 6 branches, and the company belly upped.
What's the requirement to set up a bank in Ukraine?
It used to be in Ukraine at that time was $500,000 US. Okay. It wasn't much.
And that was
and probably about $150,000 in just legal work. But
that was the barrier to entry. It was $500,000.
Yeah.
And you can set up a bank.
Yeah.
To create a Schedule 1 bank in Canada, what's the
right now? So for the A, I think it's they raised the bar. I think they want 100 mil now, and it's difficult. I am working on one where it's 50. It's privately owned, but it's a B-class bank, and it has restrictions. Like right now, to compete with the top 5 or even 7, like target entry, impossible. The lawyer I'm using, Alison Manzer out of Castlesbrook, she done 7 bank licenses over her career of 42 years. So, like I said, I do pay a lot, but I use the best. Once you get there, it pays benefits to work with people who've been in a career for so long. They know all the ins and outs, and they have friends in different jurisdictions. Like, just put it like that. You pay for what you get as a result, right? So the moment I hit free falling of about 50 million sitting on my accounts, I don't have 50 million in the cash flow right now. I don't have a little more than half of it available, but I don't have 50. Do I want to partner up with somebody? Not really. I probably would, but I want controlling interests because I tend to like what I do, and I don't like to listen.
Let me just pause your thought on the banking thing for a second and distract you with partnerships. I've had partnerships. Most of them don't work out.
Yeah.
What's your experience with partnerships been with business?
I call myself a bad partner.
Okay, so they don't work out for you either.
I started with somebody, then I want to keep going, and the people are looking to your comment of cruise control.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work for me. Like if I like here in the club, we finished in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I want 100%. I want to be out of here. I want to have people. I want to go to something else. Partners, and then now next year I want to pop one in Miami. Now more cash needs to be put up, and there's a 1.5 mil. Okay, no problem. I cough it up. With the partners, if the guy doesn't have the capital behind it, or he's like, well, I'm good here. I'm not planning to go to Miami. Why do we need to do this? Well, I want to do it. And if I don't want to do it, I just do it. And I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask permissions of people anymore.
Yeah.
So having a partner, it might be cool. Hey, buddy, let's cruise. It's all great. We're going to rock the world together. It may be good when you're a very small startup and nobody has money and you're literally working your ass off for something. Probably okay there. The moment you have a little bit of money in your pocket, partnerships don't work.
Yeah.
Simply don't.
Okay, so keep talking about that banking stuff.
Banking wise, yeah, 50 million, B bank. Then you can get leverage components on the B bank. You're probably looking 2.8 out of a Canadian bonds. So you put up 50, you can borrow and lend at basically 2.8 times of what you're putting up. So if you're putting up 50 million, you can get a line of credit from Bank of Canada at prime times 2.850 mil. So that works to about $140 million. Now you put up 50, you get 140. Not so bad. Now you leverage that out, off you go. So that's basically what I'm looking for. Again, it goes down to the basics of what my life used to be for many, many years. Is real estate and real estate finance. I made my first multiple $1 million in real estate development.
That's how the vast majority of wealth is created on the Forbes list of richest people. Is still mostly real estate. It's either real estate or it's entrepreneurship or it's a combination of both.
Go down to basics. What did you have 500,000 years ago? You had a house. You had a brick, mortar house. Very simple question I ask every single person who invests in my entity, which is, in mortgages. What's the last thing you're going to give up in your life? Like right now, even you're rich.
Yeah, your house.
You have a house. You have beautiful cars. You have everything. What's the last thing you're going to default if you have no money?
Yeah, it's your house.
It's your house. It's a house.
Yeah, that's a good point. So talk about the mortgage investment company, and then we'll get into the cars and the rally stuff and the club.
Sure. So basically what has happened is,
today.
Yeah. By 33, between 26 and 33, in that 7 years, I did 3 development projects. I basically retired. I still have a couple plazas, which gives me monthly incomes. I make about close to 80 grand a month right now, just on passive income. I do not have to work. At 33, I had my first child, my oldest son, Alex. I sat home for 2 months. I said, fuck it, I don't have to work. I have kids now. I want to put on a cruise control, like you say, and just basically chill it out, see what happens.
Take some time off when they're babies.
Yeah.
It's mostly Google Gaga, though. For guys at that age, it's not very productive. You don't have
how long I lasted?
To imprint.
7 fucking weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Almost 2 months. I said, fuck this. I can't deal with this shit anymore.
Yeah.
I got to be out of a house.
Yeah, your time's far better spent out there bringing home the bacon.
Yeah.
And letting her cook it up, isn't it?
Yeah, it just wasn't me.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, man.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
Couldn't do it. So I'm like, okay, well, I have done all that. I have a mortgage company at that time, which my partner used to run it. I didn't give a shit for it. It wasn't producing lots of money for me. My real estate stuff was making a lot more. So I'm like, okay, so I have this, I have that. I have other phone company, voice IP telecom. I had other things where, a little bit here, a little bit there. And I'm like, I don't have to do any of this. Now, what I want to do in life. So I went to talk to some politicians, do a political career. Well, heavy accent, coming from USSR, tough. Plus, also,
why did politics interest you? Because I have zero interest. I have so many people like, Rich, you got to run for mayor, you got to run for prime minister, you got to run for premier. It's like I have zero interest in dealing with any of those people.
I know a lot of politicians who have very deep pockets, and I know how they make the deep pockets on real estate.
So for the network.
On real estate plays.
Yeah.
Okay, they make big money onto making sure that some of the developments get developed. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sidekicks. I mean, this is what politicians are all about. Offshore accounts and everything else. So, seen it.
So it's more for the business aspect, less of the
Yes.
let me create policies to guide.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
So I looked at all of that, and you still have to comply with all the bullshit of, be nice, talk to people, lies royalties. So I spent 4 or 5 months researching into it. It wasn't for me. Like all this lying and holding back, just not me.
Yeah.
I go straight to your face. Dude, I don't like you. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't like something, sue me. Fuck off.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. So politics is not for a guy like that.
Wasn't for me. Now, what else you do? Well, you have limited capital. So even if I use up, at that time I had probably $12 million net worth. So what do I do with it? Do I go and buy another development and just keep on doing that? Great, but there's no massive upscale. At that time, I still had my Lexuses. I was happy with my Lexuses. Toyotas never break. Nobody looks at you. Nobody knows what you have. Very low key. Don't give a shit. So, I'm like, okay, well, let's research who's most wealthy people. Okay, they run funds. What do they run? Real estate fund, finance fund. Or they do food, import, export, stuff like that. Import, export, you need big warehouses, lots of headache, lots of running around. Didn't like it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's open up a mortgage investment corporation, because we had administration license since 2014. We've been administering money, me and my partner, for somebody else. Okay, what do we do? Well, let's take a look what we can come up with and, grow it to bigger numbers. And that's what it started. Basically, the end of beginning of 2017, the end of 2016, beginning of 2017. That's basically when it started. And then it's like, mortgage investment corporation. Okay, we have the brokerage, we have the track record as administering other people money. Our own money is the same license. And it's like, okay, there's audited financials. Let's use this. We pushed volume about 360 million a year at that time, just brokering stuff. Wasn't a cruise control. I didn't give a shit for that company. Wasn't making much, because majority of fees you're charging is 10%. So if you're grossing up 1.2 million, it's volume. Agents take 90% of it. You have 120 grand left. There's not a lot of juice after office, admin, and everything else to be made. So you're like, okay, you actually gotta get into a skin. You gotta do your own deals. You gotta have your own capital. That's where you make the lender fees. Lender fees, 3 to 4 points. Okay, not so bad. How do we get it done? All right, well, I will dump some of my funds. At that time, I put up 4 million after we did the public raise. So we went public in Jamaica, which we were first Canadian company to do that. Jamaica was rated top 10 exchanges in the world twice at that time. So
Jamaican
Stock Exchange,
the
top 10 best performing world exchanges by New York Stock Exchange.
Explain why.
Growth, compliance, just basically growth. And lawyers out of Castlesbrook, they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to list you. We're going to raise money at the Jamaican Stock Exchange. We're going to cross-list you to Toronto Stock Exchange Venture. And now you're going to be public here. Once you're public here, run for a couple of years.
Gateway then.
Yeah. Run it for a couple of years. Then, you can talk to all the broker dealers. Hopefully we get picked up by banks, picked up by broker, family offices, and so on and so forth. That was a gateway. We needed 200 investors. We got 143 out of Jamaica. We were short 57 people to make the cut for TSX.
How'd you do it?
We didn't list on TSX.
Okay.
We couldn't. Now, we're going into that.
TSX is Toronto Stock Exchange, for those of you guys not sure what he's talking about.
So it's the third largest exchange in North America.
Yeah.
So we got NASDAQ, we go New York Stock Exchange, and then it's TSX.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, we didn't make the cut. Okay, let's try to do something next year. Pandemic starts. Everything is closed. 2 years into that bullshit. Now, we are slowly getting capital from moms and pops, couple investors. exempt market dealers. We had a couple of them, but everything is slow in raising capital. Fund is small. We didn't hit our target of publicity, what we wanted. Time is going by. Track record is building, but nothing in reality happening. So we're growing slowly. We started with 5.3 million out of Jamaica. I put up another 4 and change. Now we're at 9, we're at 12, 14, 15, and just time lapses, and going forward. It's like, okay, well, we're building track records, whatever. Last week, we got picked up by BMO, Bank of Montreal. I have a contract on my table, which is getting back and forth right now for $50 million injection over 2 years. Each month.
That'll lead you to the other banks too, then.
Yeah. The moment the BMO signs up on the 1st of September, I get my first 2 million because they're willing to put up 2 million each month on a transition of basically 2 years. It's minimum 2 months per year, 2 million per month, and they can put up the whole amount, or they can give minimum 2 million each month. That's basically what my contract stipulates.
Has anybody ever called you an overnight success?
No, there's no overnight.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
I spent, just to go public in Jamaica, took me 1.5 years. To go public right now in New York, it's taking almost 2 years. So if you call it an overnight of 2 years, sure. Yeah, you put up some, okay, so here's how it goes. You work 8 to 6. At 6 you come and you spend time with your kids, a little and a wife. At 10 p.m. you start working on legal documents until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And then you wake up 7 in the morning and you continue the same bullshit.
And there's your overnight success.
Yeah, there goes your overnight success.
Multiplied by how many years?
Year and a half to go public.
No, but total for everything that led up to that, it must have been.
That wasn't such a late nights. I did had some multiple offer situation at 4:30 a.m. to buy some bullshit homes. Yeah, I had those.
Yeah.
Mostly days open, but anything from 4 p.m. until 11 at night, real estate career, that's what you do. And at daytime from like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you do mortgages. So you kind of have 2 jobs.
Gotcha.
So yeah, great overnight success. I just did 16 wonderful fucking years in real estate and mortgages.
When you say great overnight success, I'm starting to think of Borat. Great success. Man, I want to segue into cars and rallying and the club and all this sort of stuff.
Well,
because
we're kind of leading to that.
Yeah.
Kind of leading to that.
Yeah, let's go. Because the racing license and everything.
Yeah, I mean, my father, right? 1985 and 1986, 2 silver medals in East European countries for rally on the Ladas.
What kind of rallies?
Lada.
Oh, Lada rallies.
Lada.
Like forest, gravel.
Yes.
That sort of stuff.
Forest, gravel, dirt roads, asphalt, you name it, everything.
Okay.
So that's what they used to race. 2 silver medals. He was the guy who calls a map. I don't know what's the word in English.
The
navigator.
Yeah.
So they were switching as well. So there's a driver, there's a navigator. He was a sub in case the driver's screwed or whatever. So he had to substitute a few laps as well, a few runs, and 2 silver medals. So I loved it. I like it. See, I drove Lexuses for majority of my time. Like I had Volkswagen and stuff. Broke too much. I still kept the car though, but you don't want to show up. I had 7 S63 AMG Mercedes-Benz. I had it for 2 months. Business went down right away because you're showing up as a 25-year-old at that time to a 45-year-old who's buying a house, who's driving a Toyota Camry. He looks at you at $140,000 car.
You're making too much money, buddy.
You're like, buddy, you're making too much money. Like, you want to lower your commissions, and now you're not making 22 grand anymore. You're making 11, and you go like, fuck this car.
The car's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Leave that one at home.
Well, I didn't want to live stuff and pay $2,400 per month just for it to sit on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But I use the $2,400 for something else. At that time, I had custom homes going, so every penny counts. And I'm like, yeah, Lexus, beautiful, just works.
It's a perfect.
It blends right in. It's classic. Yeah. It's comfortable. If you drive clients, it's nice and comfortable. Like no issues whatsoever. Yeah.
Talk to me about your passion for vehicles. I mean, your subheading here is where passion and performance meet. We've done probably close to 10, 12,000 miles together on rallies.
Probably, yeah.
You built this car club. You're in the production phase of a film, which you're going to sell. You've got your partner that just walked in here, James.
Yeah, James Shanagan. Yeah.
and you got all these cars coming in. What are you more passionate about? Is it like the car, like the petrol head stuff, or is it like the business, the financing, the mortgages?
So that's work. Like, remember, I have 2 towers getting built right
Or
now.
is it the work pays for the passion?
The workspace for the passion.
Yeah.
The passion doesn't pay for work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Doesn't. Look, I'm probably sitting close to probably $8 million right now in car orders.
So, what is it about supercars that appeal to you?
So, it's a passion, but
because a lot of people don't get it. They're like, "Oh, that's stupid. You're wasting your money. You know how many children you could feed." What's the other one too? Oh, they depreciate. You're gonna lose your money as soon as you drive it off the lot.
Yeah, and guess what? If you have money, you don't care. That's number one. Number two is, it's the people you surround yourself with. So if you have $500,000 to blow in a car, and I have $500,000 to blow in a car, I'm pretty sure we have something to talk about. If you don't have $500,000 to blow, or $1 million, or 2, or 5, like I do, maybe not the guy I should be listening to what you do in life.
So I just want to rephrase that for people watching, okay? Because which camera are we on? This one? This one. Okay. So I just want to rephrase that for people that are watching this, right? Supercars aren't just to drive fast, to have fun, to get the looks, get the feel, that you get out of driving it. They're also networking tools, aren't they?
Of course.
I mean, like, we met on a rally because we both have a passion for cars, but it's also a networking tool, right? A powerful networking tool, in fact.
So I think I did mention to you what this club is all about. First of all, I ran out of parking spaces.
Yeah.
So we had to do something, because I have 6 homes. None of them fit my cars anymore, because I have my dad's, I have my mom's, I have my wife's, I have kids' toys, I have lawnmowers, I have ATVs, I have jet skis. Like, all this shit fills up. So I ran out of parking spaces, number one. Second was like, do I build a massive mansion? Sure. Work in progress. Need disposable $6 million to build it. Do I want to pull out $6 million and not to make $900,000 a year on that money? Not really. I like my $900,000. Don't care for the mansion. Ups and downs of life, I guess. This is, and I still haven't decided on the formula which one I'm still doing. Am I doing my $300 a month, 300 people, or I'm saying, fuck this. You want to be here? It's $1,000 a month and it's 100 people. Haven't decided on that. I'm still debating. We did have a soft opening. We had over 300 people here attending. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who came around, and a lot of people who I met on the last rally we did together. Yeah. Those yo-yos, even if they pay me $1,000, I don't want them. Mm-hmm. So there's certain people I have zero interest in, because I don't see the future of me communicating with them to teach them how they should be living.
What's the objective? I don't have the time to have
very high net worth.
Very high net worth.
Very
well connected.
Yes.
Good people.
Yeah.
Application process.
Application is a must.
Vetting. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get some yo-yos in for sure.
Yeah, that's something like I think we talked on our way back after the rally. Like, we had 65 cars.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not going on the next one. That's probably John leaving.
Give us a minute. Cars make lots of noise in here when they start up. Is he pulling out?
John is taking his truck off because there's 1,000 horsepower out.
Oh, he's taking the truck out now?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's backing out his 1,000 horsepower Trackhawk. Sounds like he's outside now.
It's a nice car. It goes. That thing goes and rattles.
Yeah, so the club, the people, vetting them, the yo-yos, the rally. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not doing the next year.
Yeah.
I'm not. I can't. This one drove me nuts.
Yeah. There are obvious and significant benefits to having a lot of people on the road at the same time, especially when you have encounters. Because then it's like, that wasn't us. That was probably the other guys, because there's 65 cars on this rally.
Sure. That's the only excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we rolled for 6 days.
Yeah.
Pretty much just like 6, 7 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much invisible too. We didn't get in any trouble. Yeah.
Right.
So
EMS service.
yeah. We'll have to tell that story some other time. Maybe we'll save that for the other podcast. So, what are we working on? Let's let's sort of get to like the wrap up part, because I think with this little test and tune with this setup and everything we're doing, we just kind of wanted to see how it was going to work. I wanted to have a conversation with Sergey, introduce you guys to him. I think the best thing for you guys to do, if you want to learn a little bit more about the club and what he's doing, is probably just go to the Instagram page. Would you say?
Yeah, Flat 6 Club and then Flat 6 Movie Official.
Okay. If you can go to the chat over there, there should be an opportunity for you to. Can you put something in the chat there? Oh, it doesn't have chat open, does it? It's okay. It's on the bottom there. It's like the subheading below Sergey's name.
Yeah, what we're actually doing here is, like, besides the club, how actually the club name originated? I got approached by James from our group in Saturn Drives, right?
Yeah.
And basically, hey, you guys, there's a movie. Anybody wants to, participate? They have, obviously, was a wedding process as well, to check out what he do, what he drive, and things like that. And it's like, then I became a partner investor in a Flat 6 movie. Movie is basically about cars and primarily Porsche. We do have an official movie trailer, which can be checked out at YouTube channel, the Flat 6 Movie Official.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Shmi was actually introducing that, a couple of weeks ago, I think. Yeah, he introduced our trailer. You guys should actually check it out as well. That was part of it, while the car club was developing with a different name. Remember, we had the Supercar Syndicate with previous partner. When I flew back from Miami, I said, this is it. Nothing is getting done. I have a different vision, and we just basically killed that name, killed the partnership, lost a couple $100,000 in that, just walked away. I said, keep it. I don't give a shit. Just clean your shit in 48 hours, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I just basically took over. You saw what I did to this place with my vision. And James is like, I'm debating on a name, because I was throwing out some names. James is like, well, why don't you use a movie name? And I'm like, okay, that works. So now it became basically the movie/club, second location of Club Miami. Little spillover. We probably do a second movie in Miami as well.
When is that movie going to be out, do you think? Because it's supposed to be sold to Netflix or Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah, that's work in progress. We already in discussions back and forth, and I think we'll be done filming by December, by Christmas. And I think the movie will be out after New Year's.
Okay.
You in it too?
Yeah. There's I posted a picture on Instagram when I was out with James doing the interview here. But so you guys will be able to probably see that on Netflix or Prime in the not so distant future. We're also going to try to put together something else for YouTube. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the next one.
So we're big car guys, huge car guys. We never talk about business or mortgages or any of that boring shit. It's almost always cars, rallies, the stuff that we do on that. It's loads of fun. Putting miles on the cars, seeing the scenery, seeing what roads have to offer us here. It's mostly on the East Coast, Appalachian Trail and stuff like that. Although I have mentioned, I don't know if we talked about it ourselves, but I've mentioned, like, we got to do bigger stuff. Like, let's go to Europe. Let's do some rallies there too.
Saturn is arranging something for next year. He's trying.
I heard, yeah.
I'm happy to go down.
For sure.
I don't care. Just lots of advance notice.
Yeah, we're working on another project, which is going to be a car podcast and potentially something building on top of that with reviews and other stuff like that with exotics. There's lots of cars. There's enough cars over here to keep us busy for months, literally. Well,
listen, just with allocations up to year end, we have 17, so we can do a car each week.
Yeah, and we're not doing like Camrys or Kias or anything like that. You're going to see some crazy shit, and you're going to hear some crazy stories if we get into them on the podcast, which we're going to kind of test after this. Are we going to podcast live, or do you want to do like a pre-record and we'll pop it out later? Because I can tell people that are watching this now to go to the other channel if you want to do it live.
Yeah, we can do live, and we will record.
Are we set up, Christina, to do it live on the other channel? Do we have StreamYard and everything set up?
Yeah, what I want to actually to do is I want to build in a movie clip from Flat 6 into that recording. So we'll cut out we will record the podcast. We go live. We introduce James. Then once we actually post it for the YouTube channel, I'm going to put a Flat 6 movie in it.
Okay.
And then I want to do a couple of shots of cars, which we're going to do on Saturday, and just build it into that movie as well.
Okay.
Because remember, on Saturday, we have right now, guys, 2 765 Spiders LT McLarens, which are 765 of them worldwide. We have 2 of them in our shop right here.
Yeah.
Like, Come on.
No, I know. So the YouTube channel is
The gas pedal.
the gas pedal. So if you guys want to go to the YouTube channel, the gas pedal, we're going to try to get set up and do our next podcast talking about cars only. They're live. So I guess with that being said, I'm going to have to reboot this computer again because it crapped out on me. Technical issues, and we'll kill the stream. So give me a sec, guys, and let me just do that so I can kill the stream. But it's still running on the other cameras. These are the technical issues I have to deal with this bullshit. Keep the feed going on that one still, though, on that camera, until I can turn this off. I mean, people will see us right now. We're just sort of navigating through it, such as the unprofessional life of doing shit on YouTube.
So I got 4 lifts going. We're going to have Porsches, Lambos, McLarens, and again, Porsches.
Sounds good. Do you need a Porsche?
Yeah. Saturday.
I can bring it in.
Yeah, for sure. Come on Saturday for 3 p.m.
Okay, here we go. Just kill this feed. I don't know what's going on with this computer.
James,
but it's...
Saturday 3 p.m., right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Apologies for the technical difficulties, ladies and gents, but it is what it is. All right, thanks for watching the cast. See you guys later. Peace out.